unhinged Marissa came out for a moment. Whoops. Hello and welcome back to the Knit Away the Anxiety podcast. My name is Marissa and hopefully the audio is a bit better today. I'm trying out a different mic, so let me know in the comments if it's not. I'm very glad you're here with me today. It's episode 4. Yeah, episode 4. Date of recording is February 15th. It's been a whole 2 weeks. We're already halfway into February. Oh my lord. This is ridiculous. Where is time going? Might be a bit of a shorter episode today. I don't have much on the weight loss anxiety stuff. And not much has really changed with all the whips and whatnot. So I guess we'll kind of go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with some FOs. I've got 2 FOs this week. First is my finished socks, and I found my sock blockers, and these socks fit a bit better on my blockers. So I'll just show you one of them, so that's a bit easier. So these are my finished vanilla socks. My first attempt at creating, or more so finding the vanilla sock pattern that really works for me and my foot. I cast on 64 stitches, did 20 rows of 1x1 rib, and then did 108 rows total from the rib to where I started the toe. My heel was put in at 40 rows. I did an anatomical toe, and then the heel was an afterthought heel. And this yarn is Sock Obsession Yarns 80/20 Superwash Merino nylon base in the colorway Awry, and I did those on a US 1 or 2.25mm needle, and I'm incredibly happy with how these socks turned out. Like, they're absolutely beautiful. Like, I can't, these are just the most quintessentially me sock ever. I'm very happy with them. They fit really well, and I'm very happy with them. I foresee a lot of socks in this method in my future, for sure. Love these. And then the next is my baby blanket for my coworker. It's all done. Can you see me? No, you cannot. It's all done, and it is gorgeous. I'm so happy with this. Oh my lord. So as a refresher, this is the blanket that I started off. It started off as my as a painting bricks or something. No, Painting Honeycombs by Stephen West, and I hated how it was working up. So I consulted ChatGPT and I gave it all of the yarn colors and how much how much yardage I had of every color, and told it make me a pattern, and it did, and this is what came of it. And I get to give this to my coworker next weekend, so I'm super happy with how it came out. It's absolutely perfect. I'm incredibly happy with it. So if you haven't used ChatGPT to write a knitting pattern before, it's actually kind of fun. There were some hiccups, like I didn't want to put in the decreases properly for some reason. I have no idea why. Probably because it's just a basic AI model. It doesn't really know what it's doing. It doesn't know anything about knitting. So, but it was fun. It was very fun to mess with, and it was really fun to see how it came out at the end. So that is the ChatGPT baby blanket. That's all for FOs, and I know I'm going a bit faster today. I don't got much. There's not a whole lot to tell this week. So I'll move on to whips and get these things all situated. Oh, get that in here. First one's going to be the Garter Eyelet blanket, inspired heavily by Helen Stewart's Habitation Throw. Let's see here. Where's my marker? So last time you saw, I was right here. I just started the black section. So I've completed the black section, put in another light stripe, and I'm about halfway through the next dark stripe. So we're making good progress. You can start to see the angle change is happening because we've stopped increasing on both ends and we're only increasing on one end to add length. So that is going very well. I'm very happy with how it's going. It's large enough now that I can lay under it when I'm marking on it, and that's just like the most fun thing ever, just to lay underneath it as I work on it. I'm very happy with how it's coming out. It's definitely slow going, but I'm getting close. I'm getting really, really close to the decrease on both ends section, and when that happens, ooh, we're gonna be flying on it, and it's gonna be great. I'm super excited for that. Let me me get this bad boy all put back together. And there's all the colors that I've done so far. All those little minis. I love it so much. It's so great. I'm so excited about this. I would say I'm close to like halfway done with it, honestly. I'd say I'm close to halfway done, which is massive because I haven't made any blankets for myself yet, and so being halfway done with that makes me really want to keep going. Okay. And then next one on the agenda is my Musselburgh. Let's see here. You might be able to hear the cat scratching the door. I don't know. I don't know how powerful this freaking mic is. According to my husband, you can hear everything with it. So here's my Musselburgh. Not much progress. Only maybe inch and a half. Not much. I'm still in that slog between the finish your increases, begin your decreases. Like, it's gonna take me a bit, especially with having to do the helical knitting with it. But I'm still really loving it. I'm loving this yarn and everything. Let me give you all those details. My good lord. So the yarn is by the blue brick. It's their husky size skein of Killarney sock, which is their 80/20 superwash merino nylon base. This color is Puppy Love. I don't think it's available anymore. Pretty sure it's not available anymore. But it's a really nice. The 80/20 is really squishy. I'm finding. So the more and more I knit out of my stash, the more and more I'm finding that I really like 80/20 just in general. Like, I like how much squishier and fluffier it is in general. I don't know, maybe it's because it's more wool, I don't know. But I'm finding I really like the yarns that are an 80/20 base. I'm really liking those. Oh, and I'm doing this on a US 2 or 2.75mm needle. And then we have the brick block blanket. I apologize for any tinkling. That is the sound of my tin with my needle and whatnot. Anyway. It's a bit difficult to show because we've added quite a bit more. I think, let me see here, in comparison to me, I think we were about here last time. So I've added quite a bit. I did the math and figured that I need to do 7.5 of the color repeats, and I think 2, 4, 6, and the color repeat is 8 of the 8 colors, or 8 color changes is 1 repeat of the color sequence. And I think I'm up to 4, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I'm working on number 5. And I only need 7.5 for it to be as long as I want it to be. So I love this thing. I just want to work on it all the time, but I'm trying to work on every little bit of everything, so I have something to show you every week, or every other week. But like, I really want to finish this one. It just, I keep sending my dad and my brother pictures of it. My dad, obviously, as you guys know at this point, has 2 blankets in this style, and every time I send him a picture, my dad's just like, "Hey, nice stitch, like the blanket," and it's just, it makes me so happy. It's just the coziest freaking blanket ever. And that is the brick block blanket by Tinsin Gyudza. I will never learn how to say that name. Good lord. I'm doing that out of Loops and Threads Impeccable yarn in white, black, teal, aqua, and blue moon. I think that one's blue moon. Yeah. And I'm doing that on a US H hook or a 5mm hook. And I love this thing. I love it so much. Backing cat. I love this so much. Like, it's just, it's so cozy. Like, it's already wide enough in just general width or whatever. Like this way, it's already wide enough that when I rotate it, I can lay it all the way from my chest to my toes. So it's already a very, I think I did it so it would be 56 inches wide, and then I'm aiming for like 60 inches long. It's gonna be a proper throw size. I'm very excited for it, and I'm gonna try and keep it away from my dog and my cat, because as much as I love them, I don't want them ruining it and turning it into one of their couch nest blankets, because they have done that. My mom crocheted me a blanket for Christmas or my birthday last year, and it's become like our sofa blanket in our living room, and every single day either the cat or the dog has created like a nest in the blanket, and it's covered in hair, and I need to desperately wash it. Like every blanket gets stolen by those two. And I want to be able to lay under my blanket. I made it for me. Next up is the Italian Autumn Cowl, take 2. So as a reminder, this was my goldfish memory, or this yarn was being used for my goldfish memory, and thanks to all of you wonderful viewers giving me your opinions, I decided to tear out the goldfish memory and repurpose the yarn. So I split the purple and the gold colors into 2 separate main balls, and then the variegated I split into 4 balls. Because with my Italian Autumn Cowl, I like to do a kind of marling between the colors, so the variegated is a really good transitionary color. So this is what I've got so far. And this is my little marker. So that's where I was when you saw it last. So I've started adding in the purple now. So I'm in the marling section with the purple. I've already used up all the half the skein of gold. I'm super happy with it. And right now it's about halfway done. It's literally about halfway done. It's going to be a single wrap. The Italian Autumn Cowl is written to be a double wrap, but I think with the amount of yarn I've got, it's perfect as a single wrap. Like as you saw with my the first one I did in the blue and gray, that one was perfect as a single wrap. So that's how far I was there. Now I'm all the way up here. So it's super easy knitting, guys. If you need something mindless, I highly recommend the Italian Autumn Cowl. It's so simple. Literally just knit every freaking row until you get to the eyelet row, and then that's just a bunch of knit 2 togethers and yarn overs. Like super basic. I like love this thing. I love it. It's fantastic. I'm doing that. All these yarns are Cape May fibers. 2 of them are one-of-a-kind colorways. I believe the purple and the variegated are the one-of-a-kinds, and then the gold I think is called Sunny Morning. The variegated is a 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon base, and then the gold and purple are both an 80-20 superwash merino nylon base. And I'm really loving this. I'm doing this on the US 10 or 6mm needle, and it's perfection. I love this. I have dinner plans tonight with my family. I will likely be taking this with me or one of my other projects, and it's that easy. I can do it while socializing. I love this thing. So the last whip I've currently got is in hibernation. Like I'm not actively working on it, and that's my keep it secret, keep it safe. That section 4 was causing me so much grief and just was not fun. So I just kind of said, to hell with it. Like I can't work on it right now. So it is just in hibernation, and you probably won't see it for a bit until I decide to pull it back out again. Okay, next section is the new Cast Ons. I've got 2 of them this week. Lo and behold, finish 2 things, start 2 more things. So if you all remember in the last episode, I had a little bit of blanket craze. As a kind commenter told me, it's apparently because it's cold. Like when it's cold, you just, as a crafter, you just want to make all the things that will keep you warm, i.e. blankets. So I did not start the Woolies blanket, the one I was absolutely going bonkers for. There was another one that had been on my radar, another crocheted blanket that had been on my radar for a while. If you're a crocheter, you may have heard of it. It went, I'm not on TikTok, but I heard it went like viral with the TikTok crochet community. It's called the 6-Day Star Blanket by Betty McKnit. And I found myself watching a hell of a lot of videos of people making that blanket, and I liked it. But when I went to look into it, I found that she had a 14-point star blanket instead of a 7-star, which that's the one that has gone viral. And I really like the 14-point. So I may or may not have started it. I totally did. So the official name of this blanket is called a 6-Day Superstar Blanket. And by Betty McKnit, and I started it a couple of days, like a week ago, and I've gotten past my setup rows. I'm officially in the repeat section, and I'm only doing it in 3 colors in an attempt to use up the random balls of Lion Brand one or Pound of Love that I have. I've got, as you can see, I've got this light gray called Elephant Gray, this charcoal color, and then this purple, which I think is called Thistle. Yeah, and the purple's called Thistle. And I have two balls of Thistle, or more so, I had a ball of Thistle, and another ball of Thistle I had made up into a sweater last summer that I couldn't wear because I literally lost 10 pounds right after I finished it. So I couldn't wear it. So I tore out the entire sweater, having not worn it once. Not the fault of the pattern at all. It was 100% because I lost weight and the pattern was amazing that I knitted into. But I wanted to actually use the yarn because I love the color so much. Because if you can't tell, I like me some purple. I really like purple. So I wanted to use those Pound of Loves that I had, and I was like, oh, this would be a great way to use that because the 6-Day Superstar, if you're making it throw size or 60 inches in diameter, uses 3,000 yards of yarn. I have 3,000 yards of yarn. Between the three different colors, I have about 25 to 3,000 yards of yarn, which is what it calls for to make the throw size of this blanket. So that is why I started it in these colors, and I love it so much. Like, okay, so I apologize for being all over the place, but I will say this. After watching a whole bunch of videos of admittedly beginner crocheters attempting to make the basic just 6-day star blanket, the basic 7.1, I can 100% see why people are struggling with Betty McKnit's patterns. I am by no means a beginner crocheter. I would consider myself to be an intermediate at minimum. I've done some pretty advanced things in crochet. I'm not a beginner. I'm really not. I've been doing it along with knitting for over 10 years now. I'm not a beginner with crochet. Do I have as much experience with it? No, but I'm not a beginner. I know how to read crochet patterns. I'm bistitual, they say, or who people say. I've heard that joke. But when I went to read this pattern, I was thoroughly fucking confused. So confused. I found it more helpful to look at the photos of the actual blanket than to read the pattern. And I don't know if that's because Betty McKnit, and I'm not trying to be controversial here, I'm stating what I've seen from someone who uses patterns on the regular, both crochet and knitting. I've looked at a lot of patterns. I've crocheted from just charts before. I'm not a beginner. I know a bit what I'm talking about. Reading this pattern, I got very much the sense of Betty McKnit being of that generation that worked off of patterns that were published in books in the 80s and 90s, because as we learn now, books that are typically put in books full of patterns are generally missing a lot of information because they have a page limit. You can only have so many pages for one pattern. You can't put all the proper information in so people actually understand what's going on. It's part of why people struggle so much with book knitting. I have a bunch of pattern books. I don't use them because the majority of the time they're missing a bunch of information, or they're older and they don't have all the information in them. So you have to do a whole bunch of figuring things out. And I understand that Betty has all of these resources and videos and whatnot like that, but I'm of the opinion that if you're writing something there's no complicated stitching in this at all. The stitches themselves are not complicated, so there shouldn't be as much of a struggle for people to make this because it's basic stitches. Crochet is not super complicated stitching. It's not. But the language and the verbiage that she uses is not intuitive by any means. I personally am of the opinion that if you have to go search out a bunch of other resources on top of the pattern itself because the pattern is not written in a way that makes sense, that's not a good pattern, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. Everyone, what was that saying? They're like assholes. Everyone has one. I want people to be compensated properly for their patterns and everything. And I recognize fully the amount of effort that goes into writing a pattern, but be it knitting or crochet. But they're both really extensive, and a lot of knowledge is required to go into those things. But at the same time, if you're putting something out there, you you want people to understand it. So why would you not write it in a way that makes so people can understand? Like, I do the same thing when I'm training people or writing documents at work. Like, I write my documentation in such a way that so that people only have to ask me questions if something really strange happens. Like, if you're like I don't know. I don't even freaking know. Like, it is this beautiful? Absolutely. It's gorgeous, and I'm really excited to keep working on it. However, there are some serious issues, or not really issues, but there is a level of comprehension required to understand a Betty McKnit pattern. And I now understand why so many newer crocheters struggled so much with the 6 Day Star Blanket. I understand now, because it's not intuitive. It's really not. Her writing style is not intuitive. It's very all over the place, and just it's not intuitive. And that's coming from me, and I'm not a beginner. So that's my ranting and raving about the pattern. Like, do I love it? Yes, absolutely. Am I gonna continue to work on it? Absolutely, because I want the damn blanket. But if you are interested in this, I would caution you to have the pattern and then also watch the video, because that will help. Like, if you want this that badly, you need to watch the video to help understand what's going on. So yeah, that is the 6 Day Superstar Blanket by Betty McKnit. My last new cast on is in my little panda sock bag. I've dubbed this my sock bag because it's just the perfect size for socks. So if that's no spoiler, that's a bit of a spoiler. It sucks. You're gonna notice I'm working with ramen. So the backstory to these, I actually already knit this yarn. I knit the socks. I made my husband socks out of this yarn a couple years, like a year or two ago. Like when I first really started knitting socks, I wanted to make him a pair. So I knit a toe up pair because my husband has large feet. I didn't know if I was gonna have enough yarn, so I knit a pair of toe up. And this was before I made the blue ones for my husband, and knew like what fit his foot perfectly. So the ones I originally made him were very ill-fitting, very ill-fitting. They were way too loose and way too big. So now that I know what's required to make him a pair of socks that fits properly, I decided to tear out the original pair of socks and reknit them. And no, I have not washed the yarn or anything like that. I am knitting straight ramen. And I don't care, because these are going to get washed anyway. So, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you can totally see the one's purple. So this one's more, the yarn itself is the Patton's Croix in the color Tourmaline Stripes, I believe. So it's got like sections of purple, sections of blue, and then the black and the gray. Luckily, my husband being colorblind, he can't tell the difference, so it's fine. It's fine that they're kind of alternating, because you can see this one is blue turning into purple, and this one's purple turning into blue, so they're kind of like reversed. But he doesn't care because he can't tell the difference, so it's fine. Um, and I've gotten the entire cuff done, and I've just started on the foot, and I'm doing mine 2 at a time on 2 circulars. That's how I do my socks just in general. I used to do the magic loop, but it's kind of a pain in the ass for me now. I just found that I really like 2 at a time on 2 circulars a lot better. So that is those. So these markers are helping me to count my rows, and because I figured out exactly how many rows my husband and I both need for our socks, I have 2 essentially chains of markers in different colors. So yeah, so that's the socks for my husband. I will like all that Patton's Croix I got a couple of weeks ago will likely become socks for him at some point too, along with, I've got so many sock yarns I could easily make him some more socks. So I did see in my last video, there's one comment about someone who does want to see my stash. I very much want to film that video, but I'm not sure if that's enough interest. So if you want to see me go through my stash and verify all my Ravelry information is correct and see how I store my yarn, please let me know down in the comments. I really want to make that video, but like I said last time, I don't want to make it if there's no interest in it. I think that's it for the knitting stuff. There's not, so we're gonna get content warning getting into like the weight loss anxiety stuff. There's not much this week, thankfully. Things have been kind of quiet, I guess. I haven't been to the gym in the last 2 weeks, both due to mental health and due to weather. We actually had a snowstorm a couple days ago, and we were snowed in. Like, I had to work from home on days I'm not scheduled to work from home. Not complaining, it was really nice, but still, like, the snow's mostly melted now. But I was locked in the house for 2 days, like I couldn't go anywhere. So no gym time, no like improvements. I have managed to lose a pound, which is cool. Like, that's good. But yeah, so I'm working on the mental side of remotivating myself so I can go again and push through the anxiety of being around so many people. I'm hoping now that we're halfway into February, because I haven't gone all of February, I'm hoping now that we're halfway into February that all the people who are not serious about it are gone, so that I can actually go and enjoy my time in the gym again and get back to how I felt when I first started going. Because I am definitely starting to notice that when I'm not going, my mental health is getting worse, and I'm seeing it more and more in my Instagram, and I'm noticing it more and more within myself that the more I move my body, the better I feel. So I'm also contemplating maybe getting like a walking pad so that I can use that at home on the days when I just feel like complete utter crap, and also so I can get my steps in, because I know with a sedentary hobby and a sedentary job, even if I do go to the gym, only doing 20 minutes or a mile on the treadmill is not enough steps. I know I'm not getting enough steps in every day, and it's too fucking cold for me to go on walks on my breaks at work. Like, I attempted to do that a couple weeks ago and about froze my ass off. And so, like, that might be a good idea during the summer or during the spring and fall, but like right now, it's too freaking cold. It's too freaking cold. I just can't. But in regards to the anxiety stuff, at this week's score, I'd say put out of like a 5 out of 10, which is my normal. Like, 5 out of 10 is pretty normal for me. I'm anxious in certain situations, but I'm pretty even keeled right now. Like, I'm not feeling like set off or anything. I'm also really starting to think that a lot of my like flare ups are hormone driven. I'm really starting to feel like that. Because I'm like doing this is making me, again, doing the scores every 2 weeks is really making me acutely aware that when it's, end of my cycle and all, like, and towards the end, when things, as those of us who have a uterus know, like, when it's about time for, that time of the month, I feel like I'm fucking psychotic. And every little thing sets me off. I cry all the goddamn time, and it's very difficult, and I'm really thinking that my attacks are really hormonally driven, because when I'm not in that space, like after the preamble bullshit, and then after the time the month is done, I get that like 2 weeks of mental clarity and get shit done, and I feel like I'm unstoppable. And right now I'm in that unstoppable window, and I'm hoping that this video alone will be a reminder to myself that, like, this can be me all the time. I have to choose it, though. I have to choose to be unstoppable all the time. Choose to be powerful and strong and okay with everything and immovable. Like, I have to remind myself I am an immovable object. Like, if I will only move if I want to move. and that the world cannot stop me. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Like, I'm up here, whereas a couple weeks ago I was all the way fucking down here. So like I'm trying really hard to stay up here and remember how this feels so that I can continue to remind myself and take it forward when I'm down here. Like remind myself how down here, like when I'm down here, remind myself how up here feels so that I can equalize and be more equal all the time. Because that will make things a hell of a lot easier. I'll feel a lot less fucking crazy. Because the swing, oh my lord, the swing, the swings between feeling super powerful and then like absolute chaos and just destroyed is so hard to deal with on a monthly basis. It is so hard to deal with. Moral of the story, like I'm noticing that I think the flares of anxiety attacks are very hormonally driven and really hinder me, and I'm trying to remind myself of when I feel like this, you need to remember how I feel now when I'm in those low places so that I can get back to being here. So um so lows with the anxiety, there's no gym motivation. I'm kind of like in hiding in the yarn crafts and just kind of I haven't wanted to do anything but really hide in the yarn, which is okay. It's okay. Um, Contrast to that, highs, really good things are on the horizon for me and my husband in regards to our jobs. Um, my husband was basically told like, hey, I've got a position in my department that I want you for, so I'm going to send you just you a link so you could do the internal application. No one else knows about this, and I'm just over here like, finally you're gonna get into the department you wanted to be in. So that's great. And then like I found out there's the possibility of another position in a different department that I could possibly go into and would be perfect for, would get me out of the department I'm in now. Like I went to go talk to the manager of this other department, and she informed me that like my name has been put forth for a really important position within like this ERP stuff, this like new system stuff we're doing too, on top of the position in her department. And she's like, I want to steal you, you're really good at what you do, but like I want you to also like have an opportunity to see this job description and make your decision between that or my department. I was like, oh my god, this is what we get for being really good at our jobs. There's a lot of really good things on the horizon for both of us, and I'm really really looking forward to see what the next like few months has in store for us. Anyway, I hope you all uh, have a great week, 2 weeks. Um, Please click the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of what I do and what I'm working on. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.